All right, tonight we're diving into a major U.S. military operation that has just gone down in Syria. And it's a story that's all about retaliation, some pretty complicated intelligence, and, well, some very, very strong words coming out of the Pentagon. So let's get right into it. So just how big are we talking here? Well, in the last few hours, the U.S. military hit more than 50 separate ISIS targets all across Syria. And look, this was not some small, one-off strike. No, this was a huge, widespread, coordinated military action. So, that leads to the obvious question, right? Why now? What on earth prompted the United States to unleash this kind of force? Well, to really understand that, we've got to rewind the clock just a little bit to a really tragic event that happened just last week. The official reason is crystal clear. This was an act of retaliation. The entire operation, from start to finish, was a direct response to an attack that tragically took the lives of 3 Americans. Three American lives were lost, and that single event was the direct catalyst for this absolutely massive military response. But it is so crucial that we remember that these are not just numbers. No, these were real people. We're talking about Sergeant William Nate Howard and Sergeant Kennedy Sanders, both of them serving with the Iowa National Guard, and they were with a civilian interpreter from Michigan. Their loss, it's truly at the heart of this entire story. And this timeline here, it just shows you how incredibly fast everything moved. The attack itself happened back on December 13th. Then, in the days right after, you can see U.S.-supported forces launched raids to gather intelligence. Then, just this past Wednesday, a very somber moment, the president was at Dover Air Force Base to meet the caskets of the fallen. And all of that led right up to today, and the launch of these retaliatory strikes. So what did this retaliation actually look like on the ground? Well, the mission was given a very specific name, and the details, they reveal a really methodical approach, all the way from gathering intelligence to launching the final strikes. The mission was officially named Operation Hawkeye Strike, and believe me, that name is no coincidence. Iowa, which was the home state of both Sergeant Howard and Sergeant Sanders, is known as the Hawkeye State, so the name itself is a tribute, embedding the very reason for the mission right into its official title. This slide basically lays out the playbook. It all started with the attack. Then, almost immediately, U.S.-backed Syrian security forces carried out up to 10 different raids, seizing electronics, conducting interviews. All of that intelligence gathered in steps 2 and 3 directly led to pinpointing the exact targets for the final step, launching Operation Hawkeye. The strikes themselves actually used a combination of tactics. As you can see, you had airstrikes hitting broader ISIS infrastructure, while artillery was used for more specific targets, like weapon storage sites. It was a multi-pronged attack, really designed to systematically just tear down the terror group's ability to operate. Now, beyond all the military specifics, the messaging coming out of Washington has been incredibly direct and forceful. I mean, the language they're using to describe these strikes is just as powerful as the strikes themselves. And this quote from Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth, it really just says it all. This is not the beginning of a war, it is a declaration of vengeance. That framing is so important. This wasn't presented as some kind of strategic escalation. No, this was a direct, punitive act. A very clear message of cause and effect. And that message came from the very, very top. A senior U.S. official has confirmed that the president's order was simple and direct. Hit them hard. That directive is what authorized the incredible scale and intensity of this entire operation. But here is where the story takes a very sharp turn, a really complicating detail that you just can't overlook. The gunman who killed the 3 Americans, he wasn't a known ISIS fighter. He was a member of the Syrian security forces, an allied group who had suspected jihadist ties and was reportedly already in the process of being removed. So that leaves us with a pretty critical question. The retaliatory strikes targeted ISIS, but the initial attack, it was carried out by an allied soldier. So how does an insider threat like this completely complicate the already murky fight against terrorism? That is the crucial question to think about as we all watch the aftermath of this declaration of vengeance.